In the beginning, there was a garden, a lush paradise filled with every kind of tree, each one bearing fruit that was pleasing to the eye and good for food. In this idyllic setting, God created humanity in His image, inviting them to enjoy the bounty of creation. Yet amidst this abundance stood one tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, with a singular command: do not eat from it. This command was not merely a restriction, it was a protective boundary, a loving guide meant to preserve the intimacy of the relationship between God and His creation. But as we delve into Genesis chapter 3, we encounter a pivotal moment that would forever alter the course of humanity: the fall. Eve, standing at the foot of the forbidden tree, faced a choice. The fruit hung there, tantalizingly tempting, and in that moment, 3 compelling reasons made it seem like a good idea to take a bite. Before we continue, just a reminder to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. By doing so, you'll stay connected and up to date with future content. Now let's continue delving into Genesis chapter 3, verses 6 to 7, and the message God has in store for us. First, the fruit appeared nourishing and satisfying. It wasn't just visually appealing, it promised sustenance that could fulfill her physical cravings. Second, it was attractive to the eyes. The allure of its beauty and the desire to partake in something so exquisite played a significant role in her decision-making. Third, the fruit was said to impart wisdom. The serpent had slyly suggested that eating it would open their eyes, granting them knowledge that would elevate them to a divine understanding. This promise of enlightenment, of becoming like God, must have ignited a deep yearning within Eve, a desire not just for sustenance, but for significance. Yet, in her pursuit of these desires, Eve suppressed the truth that God had clearly communicated. Romans chapter 1 verse 18 speaks of the wrath of God revealed against those who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. Eve must have known that God had forbidden the fruit, yet the allure of the serpent's words clouded her judgment. She chose to believe the lie over the truth of God's goodness and provision. In that moment, the overwhelming desire for wisdom and nourishment overshadowed her recognition of God's authority and love. She allowed the enemy's slander to seep into her heart, forgetting the lavish generosity that had been bestowed upon her. Eve's choice was not made in isolation. It was a reflection of a common characteristic of sin: selfishness. In 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 3 to 4, we see a warning against indulging in the excesses of life that lead one away from God's will. Eve, in her desire to share this newfound experience, gave some of the fruit to her husband, Adam. She wanted him to partake in the knowledge she had gained, even though it was rooted in disobedience. Adam, fully aware of God's command, succumbed to her persuasion. This moment illustrates how sin can breed a sense of community, even in its most destructive forms. The temptation to share in the experience, to be part of something that feels exhilarating, can lead us down paths we never intended to tread. As they took that fateful bite, the immediate aftermath was both shocking and revealing. Genesis chapter 3 verse 5 promised that their eyes would be opened, and indeed they were. However, what they saw was not the enlightenment they had hoped for. Instead, they were confronted with their nakedness, feeling shame for the first time. Where once they had existed in a state of innocence and unashamed vulnerability, they now felt the weight of shame pressing down upon them. This complex emotion, often rooted in societal expectations and personal failures, drove them to hide from one another and ultimately from God. Shame is a powerful force. It lingers long after the initial act that caused it, coloring our perceptions of ourselves and our relationships with others. Adam and Eve's attempts to cover themselves with leaves were not just physical acts. They were symbolic of a deeper need to hide their true selves. They sought to shield their vulnerability, but their efforts were as futile as they were understandable. In that moment, they were not merely hiding from God. They were hiding from the very essence of who they had been created to be. In our own lives, we often grapple with feelings of shame. Perhaps it's a past mistake, a broken relationship, or a failure that haunts us. We may feel the urge to hide, to cover ourselves with the leaves of distraction or denial. But the truth is, Christ bore our shame as well as our sin on the cross. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 2 reminds us that Jesus endured the cross, despising the shame, for the joy set before him. He invites us to come to him, not in hiding, but in gratitude and honesty. As we reflect on humanity's fall, let us recognize the profound implications of that moment. The choices we make can lead us away from the truth and into the shadows of shame. Yet, we are not called to remain in those shadows. Instead, we are invited to step into the light, to lay bare our hearts before God, and to receive His grace. There is no need to hide away from Him. He longs to meet us in our vulnerability, to heal our shame, and to restore our relationship with Him. In this moment of prayer, consider the things you feel ashamed of. Bring them before the Lord, knowing that He understands and accepts you as you are. Thank Him for the sacrifice of Christ, who bore not only our sins but also our shame. Let this be a time of renewal, a moment to embrace the truth of who you are in Him, a beloved child, free from the burdens of shame. If this message resonates with you, type, "Forgive my sins, Lord Yeshua," in the comments below. This act of asking for forgiveness shows our humility and willing to accept our mistakes. In that simple confession lies the power of transformation.